how do you nurture the, like, just, and Alli and I have talked about this on our podcast episodes together, but like, so you build all these great relationships, partnerships, you know, and I'm sure for the same for you, Tori, right? With some of the brands that you partner with, but how do you nurture those relationships, like, as they grow so that both people are happy in them?
I think always thinking about value and who you're bringing to the table. You know, even with Kristina in the past, I would hear people that want to work for an agency, and I would refer some candidates to Social Snippet. And I struck zero. I think I tried like 2 or 3 times. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to switch directions. I'm just going to try to refer clients.
And that's been going great.
And I have been crushing that. Yeah. So I didn't quite have the best direction when I was first doing my Social Snippet referrals. I recoursed the direction, and now I'm thriving with my referrals. But you want to think about the people that you care about. Like, who would be a great candidate to work with Tori and her services, and feel really supported by working with Tori, whether it's in person, virtually, and thinking about that. And, you know, we were all in the room in June when we got to hear Brendon Bouchard speak at the second dinner series, where you're constantly working for your network. And that really realigned my focus on referrals, because I had a bit of a period in the summer where Kristina heard me. I was like, you know what, that's it. I am retiring from referrals. No more.
But talk about that. Let's talk about that. Like, not like, you don't have to get into any details, but
here comes the wounds.
Yeah. I was like, this is a shit list, but no champagne. But what got you to the point where you're burnt out of referring people?
I think I almost went through like this emotional temper tantrum of like, you know what? I would love some freaking referrals my way. Like, I felt kind of burnt out, where I was like, and I came from it with the wrong energy, because hearing Brendon speak about that, I was like, okay, I guess I'm back on the referral train and I'm going to realign. But it just felt like I would love for some referrals to come my way. I would love to feel like abundant with referrals or revenue generating opportunities. I felt, out of alignment with doing referrals. And this was even after, like, last year I went through some interesting experiences with relationships, more so from a trade standpoint. That was, again, this gray area of like a Benchmark Fitness membership, but also a partnership with Alli of Inspire and Move, and as a personal brand that I, again, learn from and can apply those lessons moving forward. And I'm grateful for those. You know, life always stacks lessons for you. And I think when you have a mindset that you work on, you can extract lessons from shitty situations. Yeah. Pardon my French. But it's how we look at them and how we take action on them. And so then, thanks to Brendon Bouchard and his words of wisdom, I went home and I was like, okay, just need to get back in the game. And this is all energy that I'm putting out into the world. This is good energy. And I want people in my life, in my circle, to do well. Mm-hmm. Like, how selfish of me to think that I'm going to stop referring business to, you know, my friend that does my hair and my friend that owns a social media and podcasting agency. I want them to succeed. I want them to do well. And so now I'm back on track, and I'm doing a great job.
Right in time for giving season.
Yes.
You know,
the Lord got her, Tori.
Yeah. Got her. Happy holidays to Alli and her referrals.
What about you, Tori? Have you ever been in that season where you feel like, you know, you've been blessed and like, and you've been giving out a lot of referrals, making a lot of connections, like doing all that, and you haven't felt it back?
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, you know? I mean, but I'm just such a firm believer that you just keep giving. You just keep giving, you keep blessing, and God's just going to send you more in return if that's what is planned for you, you know? But for me, I'm like, you know, if somebody's giving me a great service, if it's a great relationship, like I just, you know, even if it's not something that I'm sure that is going to benefit the other person, it's just like a conversation can't hurt, you know? So I always say, hey, you know, if there's, like, here's a couple different options. I'm like, even with me, it's like if somebody wants to refer somebody to me for styling, I hope that they also give them other options, because I may not be the perfect fit for somebody, and my connection who may have been a really phenomenal fit for my business may not be the perfect fit for somebody else's. So I'm always like, all right, here's 2 or 3 of my favorite options. Here's what each of them provide. And I almost feel like I do that sometimes with masterminds now, because, and you all have been a part of different masterminds and mentorships. And so I even do that with that. It's like, all right, what if somebody comes to me and they're like, I'm looking for this in a mentor, or I'm looking for this sort of mastermind. I'm like, well, here you go. Yeah. Here are like 5 that I've been a part of, or some of my friends have been a part of, and I've heard really great things from. Most of the time I've been a part of them myself. And I'm like, this is what this one provides. This is what this one provides. And then have conversations with the people and then figure out what the best fit is for you, because what may have been a great fit for me may not be the best fit for somebody else. But my motto is I just keep giving and I just keep loving on people, and you know what, God takes care of the rest. That's kind of my viewpoint on it. But sometimes it is hard because like, oh crap, everybody's like, my whole business is referral based, and I'm sitting over here like, shoot, where's my leads? Like, where's the, you know, and you hope that referral, and there's certain seasons where referrals are heavier than others. And I think it's just really important, like when you're referring, if you have a good experience with somebody else, you know, let's just say Chris and Lori, for instance, right? Because that's how we all know each other in a roundabout way. You know, I just think asking them straight up, like, hey, what's a win for you in this season? I love asking that from my friends, business friends, mentors. If I want to support your business, it's like, hey, Alli, you know, what's a win for you in this season? I think we were talking about that even on the way over here. It's like, what's a win for you in this season, and how can I help support you, and who can I help bring into your life that I may have in my network that would be an awesome win for you. And so that's just one of what I like to do when it comes to referrals.
I think also really leaning into this, and I think that I've sort of stepped into this when I got back into my referral season.
I love this so much.
She was angsty for a bit.
I was such a grumpy panda for like a little period in the summer.
I think that's so great though for everybody to hear.
And I'm unapologetic about it. Like that was my mood,
it's great.
Where I was like, I'm closing up shop on my referrals. No more. Absolutely none. But then I came out of that. Thankfully, we're back into the giving season, but realized like, actually, that's one of my superpowers. I should be really proud of that. I am an excellent connector. And if this sounds overly confident for people listening, sorry, but it's something that I've now almost like stepped into this new power of, it's actually something I'm really good at, and I should feel proud of that and feel excited to do that for people. So it just took me to have a bit of a workaround of feeling those feels, having a micro temper tantrum that Kristina got to be the witness of, the recipient of. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for your friendship. Yeah. And love and support during that season. Thank you, Brendan Bouchard. And then now we're back into alignment with like, yep, it's actually a superpower of mine, and it's something that I love doing for people and I'm really good at, and leaning into that.
Yeah. And you invest so much too in yourself and your business, that I think that's one of the biggest gifts too that we've been given, just by, not everybody has our personality types in order to like step out and put yourself in these situations to go be in a room of 70 other high level entrepreneurs. Like, it can be intimidating for some. So I think that's also a gift that all of us, what a gift. It came from Kristina. Now it's a whole other story. But I really do think it's a gift that we've been given with, you know, our personality types, our businesses, how we've teed things up is like, you can, you know, we meet all these people. So to keep it all to ourselves, like we invest thousands of dollars in our networks. And so how cool can it be to give that back to other people in different ways that can also serve and benefit them?
I'm reading a really amazing book right now. It's called The Wealth That Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma. And for anyone listening that's not read a Robin Sharma book, a lot of his books are actually in really short lessons, which I love. It's just so easy to read in the morning with your coffee. You know, maybe you've done some journaling, meditation, prayer, whatever it may be, and you want to read 5 chapters. It's very manageable. And he had a whole sort of lesson about expressing gratitude for people and writing handwritten thank you notes. Like good old fashioned thank you notes, whether it is someone at your regular grocery store that just is always kind, or maybe they give you a bag for free since bags are, I don't know, 10 to 45 cents now, whatever it may be, or someone at a hotel, a restaurant, but taking those extra few minutes, which a thank you note takes 5 minutes to write, and it's handwritten, and it just expresses the gratitude that you have for the experience, for the service. And I think that's something that is certainly something that I, when reading it, want to put into practice. And, you know, here we are in beautiful Newport Beach. We're staying in Laguna Beach. It's something that I want to put into practice this trip for the experience that we've already had at the hotel. And we've not even been here a full 24 hours of just taking time to express gratitude. And it's something that Matt and I did via email for our last vacation. We sent a note to the general manager and wanted to highlight some people that really stood out to us, that went above and beyond, that just provided excellent service. And it takes no extra time in our day, that you can write this thank you note or an email. A Google review for businesses goes a really long way. Podcast reviews, of taking those extra few minutes to put in some good energy in the world and for that business, for that person. And I think it's something that we can all put into practice very easily.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that's really valuable when it comes to traveling, even for business and sending, because, you know, how oftentimes you just go home and you get back in your routine and, you know, you forget about that. But I love the handwritten notes. I think, you know, you may have got burned out from referrals for a hot minute, but you're back. I think during my years of pageantry, I got so sick of writing like thank you notes, like on, you know, actual physical thank you notes, not even emails, that, you know, I think I got to bring that back. And one of my mentors was actually just saying this the other day. They're like, are you gonna, like, do you have addresses for all of like your entire email list? No, it wasn't even a mentor. It was somebody I was sitting next to on the plane on the way here. I was talking about, they're like, are you going to send thank you, or just like thank you notes, gratitude notes at the end of the year to your entire email list? And I was like, I might be sitting there for a hot minute.
I'm going to have tendonitis in my right wrist.
I'm like, so starting today, I'm going to be writing, you know, notes till the end of the year. But no, I really, like, all joking aside, I think that's extremely valuable and it goes such a long way. So thanks for bringing that to the forefront. And it's just inspiring me to make sure I, you know, hold myself accountable. You know what? Can you hold me accountable?
I will hold you accountable for that.
And if you're on Tori's email list, you should be receiving something.
Oh, no.
Santa Tori's coming in hot this season.
Actually, one of the best compliments I ever received early on, I used to run, you guys know what Relay for Life is, right? I used to run the Relay for Life at the school I went to when I went to university. And I like ran like the record-breaking Relay for Life. So much so I shaved my head.
No,
come
you
on.
Yes,
No, do
never
we have a
actually
picture of this?
Oh yeah, it's so
Can we
horrible.
pop this up on YouTube?
No, we cannot. But I will show you a photo after. But basically, this so horrible. This relay had never made over $20,000. We were a really small school,
And you're like, I need to take this to the finish line.
And I was like, I was the one that had made 20. So I was like, there's no way we'll ever make over 30. And I was like, guys, like if we make over 30, I'll shave my head. And everyone was like, okay. And then I will literally never forget my best friend Kira came up to me. She's like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, can we just like chat? Giant event, like 200 people. I'm like, okay. She's like, this is so horrible. And I like, don't know like if there's any way out of this for you, but like we're at 32,000.
No.
And I was like, well, I'm a woman of my word. And shaved my head. Like not, I think I had like a 2 or a 3 maybe, but like very short, had a mullet for a long time, lived abroad with a mullet, like lots of things going on for me in my 20s. But
there are lots of things going on in my mind right now.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, which we can unpack off the podcast. But somebody said to me, they were like, your best quality is that you're prompt with your thank yous. And because after Relay for Life, I wouldn't sleep. And then I would write thank you notes and I would send emails to all the people that made it possible. Like all the people who had like donated food and the people who like stayed up all night to help me clean and the people who cut my hair.
Thank you so much for this life-changing experience.
Thank you so much.
XOXO Kristina.
The worst part was that like my friends like one by one would come up and like snip it.
Oh.
And like they would like be like, here. And I'd be like, yeah, like it was like I'm still recovering.
And now she has this social snippet.
No correlation, but
Full circle moment.
But I'm prompt with my thank yous, and that makes a big difference. And I see this with High Vibe Women too. Like I do a lot. You're still in shock about the head shave. I can't even look at Alli. But I see this like with High Vibe Women too. It's like I make a point to like send voice notes and message people and say thank you, and it makes a big difference. And those people usually want to come back and work with us in some way.
I love sending video messages.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's just throwing in like one personal piece in it.
Yeah.
You know, like even if it's a simple text, you know, not like a copy and paste, you know, but throwing in something very personable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take any extra time. Like literally just think for 2 seconds of something personal that you had a conversation about, or, you know, but I think a video message, I love doing those because you can like eyes convey trust and just like, again, like relaying that like relationship capital is huge.
Especially if you're early on, you have nothing but time, right?
Yes.
Like, and that's the time where you actually like, right now, the thought of sending people video messages, I just can't. Like, I'm like emotionally unavailable, but, and physically, but I would say that people like when you're early on and you have a lot of time for that personal touch, like that's the time to really like show up and like do those things. Like
over deliver.
Like this person isn't early in business, but my sister-in-law got married recently and it's the same person who did my best friend's wedding or whatever. So I had sent him a voice note right after gratitude saying, hey, like you're amazing at what you do. Like the person, the officiant. He's very popular, Jeff Mack. He's amazing. But I was like, you're very good at what you do. And I've seen you do 2 radically different weddings and you showed up so incredible. And like, just want to let you know, like you're living so deeply in your purpose. Like, wow, so amazing to see. And he sent me back a video being like, Kristina, thank you so much. Like that meant so much to me. Like he's like in his garage, like getting into his Tesla and then it lost power halfway through it. But it was like so sweet. Right. Like, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And now anytime anyone's like, oh, I'm looking for a wedding officiant, I'm like, you got to use Jeff Mack because we've built that connection. Right. And even though I'm hopefully never going to get married again, right. Like I'll probably never hire him for anything, but I'm the first to refer him to everyone when your time comes and you have to use Jeff Mack.
Yes. I think doing the unexpected. I remember a couple of years ago in Arizona, I had one of my first partnership opportunities in hospitality. I worked with the W Scottsdale and their away spa. And there was this lovely girl that worked for the PR agency that set me up with the opportunity. And I had said to Matt when we were in Arizona, I was like, you know what? I want to go to a US Starbucks to ensure that the card that I'm going to buy is in proper funds or proper currency versus buying it at home.
I sent somebody once a Canadian gift card, like an American, and they were like, why did you send me $7.80? And I'm like, I thought that was $10. It wasn't. But yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You like just having that one step further. No offense to your story. I was like, I'm just going to.
Yeah, no, you are better than me. I understand. Yeah.
I was like, how do I spin this to sound super positive? But, you have the lesson from like a Kristina situation. Yes. So then you could be in the Alli situation where like, I'm going to go to a US based Starbucks and buy this card.
That's a lot of effort.
And then I wrote a handwritten thank you card.
Starbucks.
And sent it. And I got a lovely email like, oh my gosh, that was so unexpected. No one's ever done that for me before. Thank you so much. And it was
people always send me Starbucks gift cards in their currency. It's crazy.
And just doing those sort of unexpected things that who knows, maybe down the road she'll think of me for other opportunities.
Yep.
And just being able to do things like that. And another thing I wanted that sort of popped up into my mind when you were just sharing your thought, Tori, about the voice notes and videos is the use of people's first name. I think this is a very underrated skill of being able to apply a personal touch to your thought or to your thank you. And Matt and I were just talking about this a couple days ago. And so yesterday we checked into this, beautiful Montage Laguna Beach. It's a bucket list place to stay. And both Matt and I were putting that into practice of, Spencer, thank you so much for getting us a room earlier than anticipated. Cole, thank you so much for picking us up with a complimentary house car. And it just makes people feel good. It makes them feel seen, heard, supported, like you're having that connection with them. And I think that is a wonderful asset in business, but also what we're really talking about here is confidence and relationship capital.
100%. Matt, your husband, is great at that. And even if we go out for lunch or whatever, I would always find it hokey to use a server's name. Matt does it with such ease and confidence. Like if I were to do it, I'd be like, thanks, Jeremiah. Like I feel like I wouldn't have the confidence. But Matt does it in such a sincere way that makes it really feel like you're building a relationship with these people. And that's actually how you do build relationships with these people, right? Where it's like Alli and I went to the Cambridge Mill, which is a restaurant kind of more local to me, and Alli has a relationship with a sister venue of theirs, and they came over and they gave us wine and brought us on a tour, and it was because of Alli's relationship with the other venue, right? And so but it was so funny because our friend Rochelle, she's gonna kill me for sharing this, but Rochelle and Alli filmed a viral reel at this other venue, and Rochelle didn't know that Alli had set this wine thing up, and she goes, is this because of our viral reel?
She said it to the people?
Yes.
Oh my
And then afterwards she's like, I could just die. And we're like, us too, Rochelle.
Didn't have the heart. I was like, just let her have it. Yeah. Just let her sit in this. And I'm going to go to the washroom. This is a great opportunity for me to just dip out to go to the washroom right now.
We love you, Rochelle.
I forgot about that. That was pretty amazing.
That is so
But even
funny.
to that point of that story, one of the girls that works in marketing for this hospitality group, I used to work with at Keels. And I remember her name. Her name is Taylor. And that we worked together at a very different store in a very different capacity. And then she went to this hospitality group and got to see her there. And then here we go. Like one thing leads to another. And you use people's names. You remember them, even if you need to write things down in your notes app. Of just like, okay, Tori, stylist, met at this event. And so you have those little cheat notes if that's what you need to help you out to be able to apply that in the future as you build and nurture these relationships.
100%.
Yeah, I always, whenever I get somebody's contact, I'm always taking notes of where, usually I even put it at the top, right? Like where I met them, but then really go even deeper in the notes section. I'll talk about like our conversation, their kids' names, their ages, if they're playing a sport, if they're kids, not the business.
Love that.
Intramurals, baby. But I'll always put notes, even like obviously what they're wearing. Like that's something that always sticks in my head. But keeping those notes, because then when you go back and you circle around to those conversations, there, you know, you could say, oh, hey, how was your kid's soccer game? Like, did they do well in that tournament? You know, something so not business related, but it's just deepening that connection with them. So yeah, I'm huge on that too. Like making the notes, saying their name 3 times is something I'm always working on. I'm not always the best with remembering names, but it is so important. Like you said, you nailed it right there when it makes people feel seen and heard. And that's what every single human being wants, you know, at the end of the day. And
people like doing business with people that make them feel good. Like, I know that sounds so simple and sounds so stupid, but it's like, we like to do, that's why like golf courses are a thing. Like if we just think about like men, right? Like men who do business, I keep like hitting this mic. Men who do business together. They go to a golf course, they're golfing, they're talking about their wives or their partners, their family, their kids. They're talking about church. They're talking about all these things about their life, and business is second. And they build on that foundation of, do I think you're a good person? Like, and I see this even in my own business where it's like, the people I like doing business with are the people I like. Yeah. And if I don't get a good vibe from someone, recently there's been like an opportunity with a subcontractor and we have some work we need done. And one of the people I met, I was like, this is just bad to say. I didn't feel like a good vibe from them. And I didn't feel like we had anything in common. And I didn't think our values really aligned. And I think that would actually impact the way that we did our work together. And the best people we work with are the people who we can laugh. Yeah. And we can see their work and we see that they're human. And we don't need it to be perfect. We just want it to be great. And we want to work together on that. And we want to do long-term business. Like every time I build a partnership for High Vibe Women, I'm like, this has to be win-win or it's not it. It's a no. Because I want it to be good. And so I think that's one of the things we need to remember is that like the core rule of like how to win friends and influence people, but like names, connection, relationship, like that's the stuff that business is really built on.
I think it's so important what you were just saying about like that feeling is, I mean, I call it the Holy Spirit intuition, but just your intuition, your gut feeling. Like just roll with that. Doesn't mean that person's a bad person or what their service isn't good, but it's just that intuition. Like I think we just need to listen to it way more than, you know, now I do more than I ever have, but just listen to your intuition and it's going to tell you everything you need to know. And if it's a good fit, and if you just roll with that every single time, I don't think my intuition's ever actually been wrong. And that's not saying it in like a arrogant way. It's just, for me, like I said, it's the Holy Spirit. It speaking to me. It's that feeling in my gut that I know, and just go with it. You know, and just, it might just mean that the person or the business or whatever isn't a good fit for you. It doesn't mean it's not a good fit for everybody else. But I think intuition's huge.
We heard that a lot, like when I was really more deep in my network marketing business, how people, and this is again to what Kristina was just saying, how to win friends, influence people buy and do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so kind of bringing this all together with a nice little bow is you establish that relationship, you nurture their relationship, you use their name, their first name in conversation, in your asks, your video messages, voice notes, follow-up, thank yous. It's creating that relationship and that trust factor that wants them to continue doing business with you. And we were having in this conversation with our friend Mike last night over like a happy hour that long form content, just such as this allows people to really get on your same page and be like, oh my gosh, like Kristina's cool. Or like I can hear Tori's energy. I love their
You said that with such shock. Like you're like, Kristina's cool.
There was like cool period. There was like a silent period there. It was a statement.
I didn't hear the period.
Yeah, because it was a silent statement.
Yeah, okay,
I'm gonna wink at you right now.
Matt said we should actually have the doors and like windows and everything open for this episode today, just because the energy was going to be like out of this world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully.
But that's what you get from things like, a long form content conversation, whether it's YouTube, podcasts, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a really long Instagram live, but people are able to now tune in and watch that and connect with you and really feel like, oh my God, I'm really vibing with these girls. I want to have Tori style my entrepreneur, like my transition into entrepreneurship. I need a whole new look. I want to launch a podcast. 100% it's going to be Social Snippet that does it for me. Or I need a ticket to High Vibe Women, because they can hear the energy, they can hear the conversation, they can probably also hear the dynamic that the three of us have together as friends in life and business, and be able to hopefully apply some of that to their relationships, to their life, their business friends.
No, I love that. Okay, we might have, I don't know how long we've been talking. This could be 5 hours.
We're on part 3 by now.
Okay, I think 53 minutes is a good time to maybe wrap it. But what I'm wondering is, maybe we've deviated from the original dream of this podcast, which was about confidence, but I think we got there. But what about all of us wrapping up with one tip we would give somebody if they were feeling like they were lacking confidence in their business and growing their business, in their vision, whatever that is? What is the one thing you would tell an entrepreneur to do?
I would say go somewhere and get inspired and get out of your environment, because I think oftentimes we just get so much like in the mundane. We wake up, we do our routine, we, get to work, we're back on the laptop, we're doing the same thing every single day. That one of the most important parts is being a creator is just getting outside of your every single day routine and get inspired again, and really figure out your why. I mean, I actually woke up at 2:00 in the morning last night, just out of the blue, and I was wide awake. And so I'm like, well, I'm at the Montage and I'm staring at the ocean. And so I opened up my patio doors and I literally, this is 2:00 in the morning, went out on my patio and just stared at the ocean for a second and looked at the full moon, and it was gorgeous. So if anybody wonders what I do at 2 a.m.,
moon watching
on a random Tuesday, moon watching at the Montage. But
it sounds very woo of you.
It's very woo. Yeah. I was like, all right, God, just speak to me. What's this new business idea? Just preach. But no, it really is. It's just getting inspired, getting out of your environment, and really embracing that creativity that's already inside of you, and the dream that God has already put on your heart. It's inside of you already. So just get out, explore, get in a new environment, and it literally will take less than 24 hours to get re-inspired and get that spark back inside you.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. I totally agree with getting out of your environment. I like that a lot. I would actually challenge everyone listening to take action as my tip. That if there's someone that you admire, someone that you follow, maybe you go to their events and you don't really have much of a relationship with them, I would challenge you to take action and send them a DM, send them a voice note. Lead with value, maybe lead with a compliment. If you for example, a guest of High Five Women, a recent event, did you go to the event? What did you love about it? What really stood out for you? And then ask if you could take Kristina for a coffee, or whoever it is that you admire and you follow.
Because she's really cool.
So cool, period.
She is, yes. Don't forget that period.
Period.
But just take
she
action.
Just wants to see mullet pics.
Take action on it. Slide into that. And I'd say, why don't you do that for 3 times? 3 people that you would love to be in the company of, and take action on it. Lead with value. Be prepared to pick up the tab and be respectful of their time, but go take the action.
And if you take Kristina out, take her to Nobu.
Yeah, you gotta take me to Nobu. Maybe not in this season of my life, but maybe take me to Nobu
next time.
I will say, for me, on Alli's point, it's loving on people. And so whether it's you listen to a good podcast, tell the person. If you, heard something good about somebody, letting them know. Tori sent me like a really beautiful text the other day. It took me 2 weeks to respond, but she was like, hey, I was just praying and like you came to my mind and like I'm praying for you, right? Like that goes so far. Like, hey, I'm thinking about you today. Hey, you've got this event coming up. How's your heart? Like, how are things? Like loving on people and giving people that season. Like, hey, you're going through something really tough right now. I'm here for you. Like, in whatever that looks like. Like those things go so far when they come from a genuine spot. And you have no idea like what kind of relationship can come from those things.
I also love asking people, like kind of to what you're saying, Kristina, if they are in a busy season, are they going through a tough time? Do they have a big event, a launch season? Asking how you can support them, which sometimes it might even be so overwhelming for them that they don't have an answer, but they just appreciate that you asked. Like, how can I support you? That's been something that I've really been leaning into this last year. And I've received positive feedback where it's like, you know what, that meant so much. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a just kind of compliment to loving on people, to what you said. I think that's a really nice thing that you could add to your little toolkit.
Yeah, it's just like when you think of somebody, message them or go see them or send them a random, US or Canadian Starbucks card. But it just, when they're on your mind.
Big takeaway for Kristina today.
Oh yeah,
big takeaway. We go to the American US. Yes. Starbucks.
Oh my gosh. But it's true, because I think oftentimes it's just kind of like when you go past somebody in the hallway and you think they look cute, but you don't say anything. Or if their service was great at the resort, or, your service was great at dinner, but you don't really tell them like, hey, you did an excellent job tonight. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's just the same thing. Like loving on people. I think that's the perfect way to wrap this all up, is because you have to love on people. And that's what is life if you don't love on people and create those deep, meaningful relationships and connections.
Oh, I love that. Well, I love you guys. This was so fun. And we'll link everything in all of our show notes around each other's shows. But so great that we get to kind of connect here in California. And this was so great.
So much fun. Love you both so much.
Love you both so much.
Woo!